Hello there. I want to talk about my experience with long distance running, and this is something that I've gotten into as of recently. And in recent videos, I've kind of touched on this idea of pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone whenever you possibly can. There's just so many upsides and just to live a more fulfilled and happy life. So I think this is a great example of that because it extremely humbles you. It really tests your ability to be patient and have the willpower to do the same thing for hours on end, depending on how long you're doing it. And this also kind of segues into something else I wanted to talk about, which is being able to be patient and be bored sometimes in your life has more profound effects on our lives than we may realize. And I think that, taking that away from us in our society through means of constantly improving technology and what we can accomplish with that technology, and being able to make our lives consistently easier and easier over time, not having to put in the work to accomplish what we would normally accomplish maybe 20 years ago. It does a lot of good to have a good bit of boredom in your life to kind of foster this sense of creativity and to keep a good imagination. But anyway, long distance running. I've been doing this for like a month and a half now, and it's been a very interesting experience. I absolutely dread it every single time going to run for long periods of time. But it really just does something to you. Just running out on the road and, knowing that you have so far to go and you just have, your music and whatever. It's just you, your music, and the street or the sidewalk that you're running on. And, after a certain amount of time, it's really easy for like the first few miles, the music is pushing you through and there's not much you really have to think about. But at a certain point, you'll start to embrace these certain inner thoughts, these mental challenges that you'll have to face in order to, it's kind of like this wall that you have to jump over, this obstacle you have to overcome at some point in your runs, because it's just testing pure mental endurance. Because at the end of the day, it's really all just a mental game. Your body can handle a lot more than what you think it can. It's your mental that's creating these limiting beliefs about what you can accomplish and telling you that you can't do it, whether you see that or not. But yeah, you're facing these absurd like mental blocks, having these thoughts of just wanting to quit, thinking about it every single step that you take. And it really just creates this huge sense of patience and of the ability to consistently do the same thing for long periods of time. And it really builds a lot of other skills that, are really hard to get if you're not doing this. I'm not trying to tell people to get into it. I'm just explaining my experience with this. The other difficult thing about it is, it's like the kind of this ultimate test, because you're never going to know how good you're going to perform. You're going to have off days, you're going to have your target time of like when you want to finish a run or whatever based on whatever goals you have. And no matter how much you prepare, no matter how much you research beforehand, before your runs, whatever you eat to be able to fuel your body to do that run, your body is a lot of times can still underperform compared to your expectations. And it fluctuates a lot. There's, you'll think you'll do bad on some days and you'll end up performing a lot better, or vice versa. And so in that sense, it's an extremely humbling experience. Because in my case, most times I am doing a lot worse than I think I will. And so, in that sense, you feel good about the run and you feel good about reaching the certain distance in a certain amount of time, and then you don't, and then you do all that work to finish, and you're still not as satisfied as you could be because you didn't hit your time target. And so that's really where it is able to humble you, because it is your results from running are a pure after effect, a pure output of what you are putting in to this skill. It is going to show you the direct results of how much effort you are putting in, and if you are lacking the effort, lacking the consistency that you should be putting in every day, it's going to show in the longer runs, and it's going to show you how consistently disciplined you are in putting effort into running and getting better, based on your goals. And so that's the tough thing about it, is it's going to give you that raw reality of am I doing enough? Am I putting in enough effort into this? And so I think in that sense, it's extremely beneficial. It's definitely made me feel terrible, but also great in so many aspects. I think another thing that's worth mentioning with this is, it's worth mentioning that this is an example of something that I do outside of my primary occupation, my job, and it just goes to show how much you can improve yourself outside of your job and not making your job your identity in your life and just what you're known for. Like, you can do so many other things outside of your career that makes you feel extremely fulfilled and makes you feel satisfied about yourself. Just depending on what you're doing outside of your job, it can make you feel more mentally at ease, less stressed, and maybe even help you perform better at your job. So I definitely think that selectively choosing how you spend your time outside of your job is very important. So yeah, I just wanted to touch on this a little bit because I'm an advocate for trying to push yourself out of your comfort zone and doing things that you never thought you could do. Just doing difficult things in general, and pushing your mental limits, pushing your physical limits, and that can come in many shapes and forms. Maybe it's running out on a road or a sidewalk for 2 hours straight and seeing if you can really accomplish that. The point of this video is that my experience with long distance running, it has extremely humbled me. I'm still going to be doing this for a couple more months, so we'll see how it goes. And yeah, it's definitely fostered a lot of stress, a lot of deep digging mentally to get myself to consistently keep on track with my running plan and to try to meet those time targets with every run and just improving as much as I can. Long distance running is extremely humbling. Let me know your thoughts on this. That's all for now.